They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got three big old dicks that you can suck.
Well, here we are. It just occurred to me the little presentation or slideshow, the music video that accompanies our song. What's the provenance of that?
How did it come about?
Yeah.
Well, I feel put on the spot now. I want to say, and I'll go back and check the email. It's been a long time since me and this guy talked, so forgive me for not remembering. I think his name's Alex. Reached out, was like, "Hey, I did this thing." Like he just did it, and was
good.
like,
Shout out to, the main reason I asked is because I know it's been around long enough that it's like a pre-AI generated, and that made me think,
sure, yeah.
That made me think like that means someone made this. And I was like, this is good. Who made this? So thank you to Alex.
Again,
if that
I think it's Alex. As Trey can confirm, we did not discuss bringing this up, and my brain is how my brain is. I'll go back in my emails, but yeah, I just made it on spec and was like, you can use it if you want to. And I know on the first episode I shouted them out and put their information in the thing, but who the fuck knows when that was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here we are. It's me and Cho. Drew's supposed to be here. He's not at present. I'm sure he'll be here shortly. It often be that way. I want to talk about something real quick. I feel like you are going to have strong opinions about it. Drew, I would probably be like, I don't want to talk about this anyway.
So this is mayonnaise?
Kind of works out. No, but I mean, you'll understand. For any denizens of this universe that, listen to all the shows or at least also weekly skews, I brought this up briefly on there, sort of extemporaneously. I didn't mean to. It just sort of came up, but it was brief. I want to go a little more into detail on it here. And I threaded this in our group chat, so you saw it that day, I think. So yesterday was Monday, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, Star Wars Day. On Saturday, I went to Yankee Stadium for the first time because I was with Donnie, who is a Baltimore boy, and they were playing the Orioles. And I'd never been, and as I've said before, that's part of my sundry midlife crises as I'm getting older, as I'm getting more into baseball. I've always hated the Yankees, but I was like, I've never been to Yankee Stadium.
You got to go.
I'd like to go. So me and Donnie went on Saturday. I guess they're off yesterday, or at least not at home, because they celebrated Star Wars Day on Saturday at Yankee Stadium. And they did a bunch of shit. They had their stadium DJ dressed up as Chewbacca. They did a little parade of cosplayers around the stadium. They, all kinds of things. Their first however many thousand fans got like a Baby Yoda Yankees bobblehead or some shit like that. But they also photoshopped all of their players in when they do the lineup, like when Aaron Judge comes up to bat, they show him on the Jumbotron, which remind me actually later, circle back to Jumbotron. It's totally unrelated to this. But anyway, put him up on the Jumbotron.
Aaron Judge would be an Organa, I feel like. He would be in that family.
He is photoshopped. They're all photoshopped. All the Yankees players are photoshopped into Rebel Alliance gear.
No, bro.
I can't stop thinking about it. Like, it bothered me so much, and it still bothers. And again, I'm biased because I don't like the Yankees, but
neither does anybody, and that's exactly why you're right.
I just really think, and okay, A, that, but B, it wouldn't not hit for their fans either.
They would love it.
Like, people think the Empire is cool. Darth Vader is cool.
Right.
Darth Maul is cool.
I would rather the Georgia Bulldogs, I'd rather them be represented as the Empire than a ragtag group of rebels, because we are. You know what I mean? Right. That's how I feel about us.
And I just think it's just like such a bitch move. Like another example of all these people that are at the top of these big like corporations and organizations and stuff that to me just seem to be completely out of touch.
Oh yeah.
Or like tone deaf or whatever. It's like, or just cowardly, all of that, all of the above. It's like, what are you doing? And here's the thing. It's like, we don't hit, so it don't work because we don't hit. But if we did hit, like, I promise you, the Las Vegas Raiders would never
No.
Like, would never. If they try, like, and it's in May, so it's in the off season. Thank God, because if the Raiders did try to do some Empire shit, they get clowned on so hard for being awful and stupid.
And they'd skip straight to the first order. They'd be worse than the Empire. You know what I mean? They'd go for the worst one.
Yeah, but I guarantee you they would embrace it. There's not a doubt in my mind. And the fact that the Yankees didn't, when they're like arguably in all of American sports, like all sports in this country, they're like the most Empire coded, I feel like.
In stripes, you can't have your name because this is all about the team.
The colors
There's no
match.
salary cap. There's no salary cap. Yeah.
It's just like it. There's just, I just find it to be completely inexcusable. And I'm going to always be bothered by it, I think. And, no one at the Yankees is ever going to hear me bitching about this, but I just thought it was just, I just really didn't like it. And Donnie, of course, didn't like it. As soon as it came up, he was like, because he pointed out, he was like, I mean, we're orange.
Of course.
The Orioles, he's like, we're a plucky upstart orange team that they're playing today. I get not making your opponents the good guys, but you don't even have to do that. Just leave them in their baseball uniforms.
Right.
But if you're going to Photoshop your dudes, make Aaron Judge a fucking Sith or whatever, like I don't get it. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of, the Orioles could get away with it. The Mets, if they were the Rebels, that'd be fine. You know what
that'd
I mean?
Be totally fine. I'd expect them to be the Rebels, and that would play.
It's just like why it's like I'd rather hear somebody making fun of the Yankees than making fun of the Mets, because in comedy we punch up. You know what I'm saying? And it should be the same here. And no, that is and frankly, the fact that they haven't said anything about this, their silence is deafening. On this.
I think they just don't think nothing, to them. It's just, they're just like, no, that hits. That's of course that's what we do. We're the good guys. Of course we're not going to make ourselves the bad guys. I think it's just as simple as that. I do wonder how
John
much
Rogers
of a conversation.
Exactly. They're terrorists. I told you.
I do wonder how much of a conversation they had about it. You know what I mean? Like,
not much.
Right. But I wonder if they were like, if it was a thing where they were like, well, we can't make the Orioles the good guys in our stadium, though. Like, I wonder if they even got that far, or if it was just automatic, like, Aaron Judge is going to be Luke or whatever.
The thing too, maybe you might disagree with me on this, but like, because they chose the Rebels specifically, not just good guys, but the Rebels, it's a very there's politics involved in that. Like, if they just Photoshop them all as just random Jedi, I don't think it would be that crazy, because
they have X-wing pilot jumpsuits, the orange jumpsuit. That's what they had them on.
I'm saying, like, if they had just been regular Jedi, we'd be like, yeah, whatever. But because they were in their military gear where they were fighting the Empire, it's like, no, you ain't that. Like, y'all could be some Jedis that maybe hadn't reached master, and it's just sort of like, whatever. But like, you can't be fucking Saul Guerrera. You can't be them.
Right. No, you the opposite.
Yeah. And that hits. Good for you.
That does. I know. That's what I said when I brought this up to Mark. He's like, I just don't get why teams like that, it's like, just like embrace it. You know what I mean? Just like, fucking, you're the best of all time in American sports. Nobody else is even approaching the same number of championships as them. They're up there with the most hated always.
Right.
Like, lean into it.
And also, though, if you look at
New York as a city leans into that whole thing. I feel like, you know what I mean? New York or nowhere. New York Empire versus, you know what I mean? Like, right. It don't hit for me.
Also, not for nothing, but like, I know that we, think of the Rebels are the good guys in this, obviously, because the Empire is bad. But if you're talking about just scoreboard, the Rebels won for like a day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that. It's not like it's not like the sequel series is about the Rebels slowly losing their grip. No, they fucking didn't have it. The First Order comes in and it's back to business. So like, you want to win? Be with the Empire.
Did you guys already cover what their point is? And you guys are just like, but I don't like it. It's not good enough. Or can you not fathom why they did it? Because I know why they did it.
The Yankees? No. Why? What?
First of all, fuck the Yankees, fuck baseball, and fuck Star Wars.
Right. All right.
Yeah. You're up to speed.
But because Yankees fans are not the Empire. And so whoever's in charge of that, like marketing department or whatever, and I understand if you're part of the fandom, like you're like, no, but we are the best team in the league. But like, at least in their minds, and this is bullshit, this is PR. I acknowledge all that, but you're talking about underdogs. If you're talking about the outer boroughs, I mean, they're in the Bronx. You know what I mean? Like go next door to that stadium, or not next door, but like one street over, and tell some kid who lives in Section 8 and his uncle's living on the couch, hey, we're the Empire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but okay. On that note,
I'm not saying I buy it. I'm saying I think that's like the Yankees as an institution outside of New York are, of course, the Empire. But inside it, people think that they're like gritty New Yorkers, and like there's a lot of poor folk who cheer for the Yankees. To be fair, they've all been pushed out of the fucking city the last 20 years.
Right. Just because they're poor doesn't mean I don't think they would be Palpatine sympathizers, because I do. We've seen it a lot in this country.
Yeah, that is true. But also, I just think purely from a fan perspective, I already kind of alluded to this. I feel like if they hadn't done it, if they had gone the other way, and like I said, when Aaron Judge came up to bat, if the graphic they put up, especially if they'd done a little promo, exactly. And he's like, right, fucking, there's smoke. His bat is a red lightsaber. He's got like, dude, that would hit for all of them. None of them would be like, but we're all gritty fucking working class folk. They would be like, this rules, I think. So, like, I still don't, you know.
Well, who do you want to be, Sigourney Weaver or the motherfucking alien? You know what I mean? Right. Come on. We're playing baseball.
That motherfucker, I knew he's big. He's like 6'7", 285 pounds.
Aaron Judge?
Yeah, he's massive.
Oh, I didn't know that. He's a big
guy. I knew he was a big guy, but like he's huge. Like
it's wild how
bigger than everybody else.
It's wild how you don't realize it because they're all just among monsters, you know, and stuff out there.
Baseball players aren't as tall.
No, I'm saying he's monstrous compared to the other players. Again, but I'm saying I knew he was a big guy. I just didn't realize he was that fucking gigantic. But yeah, they sure did whip the Orioles' ass. I'll tell you that much.
And the Rebels, the scrappy, the plucky little fellas came in and
pulled
beat
it out.
The Orioles.
They pulled it out. Cody fucking Bellinger hit like he went 3 for 3 before Donnie got pissed and we left. He went 3 for 3 and had 2 home runs, and then they shut him like in the dugout. And he had like sunflower seeds in his hand and had his mouth open like this and was just going like throwing sunflower seeds at his whole face with his mouth open.
Hey, did the strike robot hit as hard live as it does watching it on TV?
The review thing.
Yeah. It's been awesome. It's great.
Yeah, they only did that once, and the Yankees won it, so everybody got all pumped and everything. Yeah,
but it's extra things to cheer for. It rules.
Yeah, but Cody Bellinger is apparently, he's like, if y'all don't know, he's like, I don't know if he literally is stoned all the time. It seems weird that he would be, but he like seems stoned because maybe he's just that like dumb, which is also funny. Right. But it was like funny to me to be, and I know it's sports, so it happens all the time, but it's like this dude is just wrecking their shit. Yeah. And then, you know, he seems to have the mind of an 8-year-old when it like pans to him on the fucking in the dugout or whatever, which makes it more, you know, sort of.
Bumgardner always seemed real high to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Doc, you know, it's how dumb I am. So Doc Ellis, right? That threw the no-hitter on
LSD. Yeah.
LSD. It never occurred to me that in like the governmental form version of his name, that his name is Ellis, D. His name is LSD.
Nice.
LSD. I know.
Yeah, that's nice.
I know.
Wow.
Right. I know. Never thought of that in my life.
Determinism there, buddy.
You're right. Until I saw it on like, of course, a Reddit thread.
It's all an op, dude. We're living in a simulation, brother.
Dude, that shit's crazy. I mean, I don't know if y'all know the whole story about it, but like, he not only did he do that, he did not think he was supposed to be pitching. He was like at his old lady's house. Right. Like he was fucked up on LSD at his old lady's house, and they called and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing? Get your ass down to the ball field."
And he's like, "No, I got a game tomorrow." And they're like, "No, you've been up for 3 days."
Dude, I've taken some acid and I've had some fun, but the reason I've had so much fun on acid is during the middle of me taking acid, someone didn't give me a reality check on some shit I got to do. I would fucking lose my mind, dog.
Do you think? Well, I was about to ask the question that sort of assumed that back then they had less info and sort
Right.
of common knowledge on bad trips,
Right.
being weird in front of people, et cetera, et cetera. But maybe that's stupid. I was about to be like, do you think it was easier for him because he hadn't seen 7 movies about how weird you get on acid? But it's like, I feel like the 3rd or 4th month of acid, people were like, you ever seen how weird these motherfuckers act?
Well, that and also like back then you weren't ever like if it happened to me now, I'd be so worried like this is going to be documented and people are going to see this and I'm going to embarrass myself. Back then, dude, they don't even have video of Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point fucking game. Like you didn't have to worry about
another op.
That's what I'm saying. But you didn't have to worry about constant surveillance back then. So
Right.
I'm sure there was part of him that was just like, I'm gonna have one of them days.
Well, it's like I'm gonna go to work where they drink at work and
Right.
smoke on the sideline,
Yeah.
and like our star players railing a whore in the locker room. Yeah, I guess in some ways
Better
he's like,
time, man.
what's the worst that could happen?
And the best thing happened.
But then there's also just, and this might be a personality thing, and this is what you were alluding to some extent. I mean, what's going to happen to us if we go do a set on acid and it doesn't go that well? Mostly nothing, especially like if we're at a club where they already like us and know that. Point
That's
being,
true.
there's also just like social anxiety.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like I just don't want to go be around people.
That's like the biggest part.
I'm in
I feel
acid
like
mode.
us is like comedians. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Because that's different. I mean, I feel like the only person I can think of that it wasn't acid, but I feel like among the worst case scenarios is the Nick Swardson situation, which was very public. So I don't feel like I'm telling tales.
It was
out
like
of school.
Xanax or something, and he was just out of his mind.
Well, he said that I think he had taken he was in Colorado and he was like, I wasn't used to altitude. And I think he had taken a gummy and of course was drinking and shit, which I mean, I've been there with the gummy thing, but like, y'all remember that, right? He had to like, it like went viral because they had to call his show off and like drag, pull him off the stage basically because he couldn't even like talk. He was so fucked up. And that's, that don't hit. Like
That don't hit.
That you don't want to deal with that. It's like I remember when I was dealing with all that anxiety shit for the first time and panic attacks, and when I was going to like therapy for it and telling them, and one of the techniques I tried to use to be like, right, but really think about like what's the worst that could happen.
Let me tell you,
and that was not effective for me at all because I would always be like, I mean, I feel like it's pretty bad, man. I was like, because I have a full blown panic attack, collapse, nervous breakdown on stage in front of all my fans at a comedy club or whatever. I was like, then if there's footage of it, people share it. I seem like
your fans would give you a standing ovation.
But
we just tell everybody that you had like a heart problem or something.
Yeah,
right.
Be fine.
And the thing, and the guy and the therapist would always be like, right, and then in his whole thing, but you go on living, right? You know what I mean, like that type of thing.
I don't want
like, there would be repercussions. I was like, also it's just
you have to at least answer an email.
It's wild that your therapist thought that was like a reward for you.
Yeah, right. Well, there's also that, but I do know that also I think happened to. Because I remember hearing this at the time.
Damn, you're right. I do have to go on living. It wasn't the worst thing that happened.
Don't hit.
I didn't die. Fuck.
But I think that exact thing also happened, like on a much less scrutinized thing. But again, I know he's talked about it in public. Because when this was all going on with me, somebody mentioned this to me. That happened to Giannis Pappas at a comedy club, I think, and he got like put in an ambulance and like taken away.
Oh, you'd have to put me in an ambulance.
And he's like. I mean, he is fine, obviously, and he's been fine for that was years ago. So it's like,
it's really funny to think about
and he jokes about it. So
because his fandom's real big on not being a pussy.
Yeah.
And I'm not,
I think this might have happened so long ago to him that, you know what I mean? I don't even know. I think they had that podcast already though, but it was definitely like years ago, but I'm saying he lived. DL Hughley collapsed on stage, but that wasn't an anxiety thing.
That was COVID, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew, didn't you take mushrooms and blame a cop for 9/11 in Kentucky one time? Was that how it went?
Yeah, while telling a story about being on mushrooms on a different show. I've done mushrooms for a show twice on purpose and once kind of on accident. That night was supposed to be a low dose, and after I ate it, Brian, who brought them, was like, yeah, those are penis envy.
Yeah,
and I was
those
like,
are the good ones.
Oh, you mean the ones that are 4 times as strong? And he's like, yeah.
Ones that
I was
hit
like,
real hard.
Well, we have 2 shows. I'll be fine for the first one. We can talk about that. I did want to say I can remember twice pushing through, fighting a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing some of the techniques of like spotting, just like it was very surreal, and I did not have a good set. But doing the thing of like, okay, I'm just going to recite my joke, but my brain is completely dissociated, and I'm just kind of going, that lady has in my head, not out loud. That lady has a red shirt. That dude is laughing. That dude is not. And it's supposed to just kind of distract you, and it would work for a few minutes, and it would creep back in because, as Trey can tell you, it's a very physical thing on top of the mental aspect. The mental aspect of it is hell, but there is a physical feeling of anxiety.
Yeah, it hurts, man.
That's sort of like alien. And I remember my hands being kind of numb. And then, apart from WellRED, shows where I wasn't like on tour with two people and getting paid very well and all that stuff, I bet I've canceled 7 to 10 spots in my life so that I wouldn't be the guy being carried out of there.
I stay doing that.
I had one show in LA, and it like it could, I think, have been a good one, and I had to just bite the bullet. This is when I was in like the like throes of all this shit, and I had to just call it. But only that one. But yeah, I've had what I know now were panic attacks while on stage, and just kept going like through months. No, I did not know. I knew. Yeah. I'm saying I didn't know that. In my head, I was like, I'm not all the way there yet. If I get all the way there, I will fall on this stage and they'll have to call an ambulance or whatever. And that's all the way. And I'm saying what I know now is that like what was happening to me was the panic attack. Like I thought it could get even worse at the time. Right. But it, and I mean, it always can, I guess, but
the sort of tunnel vision fall down thing, like you can't breathe and you really can't get out of the floor, has only ever happened to me once. And unfortunately, it was on a New York subway car.
Oh, God.
At about 12:30, 1 in the morning.
Ugh.
And what happened was...
Somebody tried to get your butt?
Well, no, I was in that state generally. Like I was having like a rough couple weeks, whatever, And then I just like dumbly smoked weed with this... child to me, this 24-year-old who wanted to like go for a walk after work and ask me legal questions. And I just was like listening to him. And on the way home, I got full on tan of it. And I remember the part where right before I went down, I remember thinking, these fucking youths are going to rob me. Look at how they're staring at me. Cause there was like these 20-year-olds on the train. And I was like, I'm not imagining that. I'm not just high. These dudes are staring at me. And now, like, things were getting wishy-washy, and then there was, like, tunnel, and then I heard one of them say, "Sir, are you okay?"
Right.
And I was like,
at you out of concern.
"Oh, they were talking to me."
Yeah.
And I'm in the floor. Yeah, I'm on the floor of the subway car, and I fell over, and then they were, like, over me, and they're like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "I got to get off, dude."
I've only had it happen a handful of times on stage, but I'm certain it'll happen again. There's like 3 times that I can think of right now, and I got so lucky on each 3, which was that like either we'd been on the road for a long time and I'd been doing the same set and I really had it dialed in, you know what I mean, to where my brain truly could go. I don't know, but I'll say this: if you ever see my show and I don't move from in front of the microphone, just know that I'm having a panic attack, because I can't do anything, and my arm will be like this, like it just won't leave. And I'll just, and it's not a good feeling. But again, I was only doing 30. I had it locked in. I was like, this sucks for them, but you can do it.
Well, getting away, if we can, then from New York pussies smoking weed, me, and getting back to New York killers smoking weed, the sixth judge or whoever you're talking about being high.
Oh yeah, Bellinger. Yeah,
Bellinger. My bad. Shout out to 3 of my friends, but also our boy, Reg Thomas. Reg is in the final 4 of Kevin Hart's Funny AF. If you guys haven't tuned into that, you should. And if you have, like, watch tonight. It's the finals. I don't know how you guys feel. There's no perfect stand-up competition. They're never going to be great completely for the industry, but this show is so good for the industry, in my opinion, compared to what else has been going on trend-wise. And Usama Sadiq and Caitlin Palufo are friends of mine.
Yeah, good. I love them.
Winston Hodges is a friend of mine, so we can shout out all 4 of them.
Yeah. Caitlin made it to the 4 too?
Winston Hodges, the white dude.
Well, Winston got eliminated last night, but Winston is awesome.
I thought I Googled the Final Four to see if he'd made it, and the fucking Google AI says that it lists him as being in the Final Four.
I could be wrong, but I think him and Olivia Carter were eliminated last night. Olivia's the only one I have no connection to, but she is very funny. But Ron, I don't know very well, but when I had that court style show at the store, I can't think of anyone who killed harder. I can think of a few people who killed as hard as him, but I can't think of anyone who killed harder than Ron killed in a court case titled Black Men versus White Women. And buddy, the white women lost that night.
Yeah. Could have seen that coming.
Yeah, right, right. Well, you correct. Winston was one of the last two eliminated before the Final Four. I saw him talking about
it after that Trey Crowder endorsement.
Well, no, before my
I know,
endorsement,
just
motherfucker. Anyway, yeah. Google AI don't hit. That also sucks for Ron because Google doesn't list him. So
yeah, that does suck. My first introduction to Winston was he went viral doing a bit. It was something we had talked about. We had talked about a different version of it. It was just it was like, oh, right, that's a perfect bit. It was so funny. And it was basically like, he's like, not me, a gay man should just call him the F slur on national television. Don't you think that'd end all this? Don't if you just think if somebody got on TV and was like, look at this fact.
It would work. Funny, it would work. I'll do it on CNN if they'll have me back. They won't.
They won't now.
I got to come out as gay first. Not yet.
I did want to shout all that out though. Those are our friends, and and I think what Kevin Hart's good for comedy, and it's awesome. And they're really good, hardworking, been in the game comedians.
What's the prize?
A Netflix special.
Pretty sweet.
It is pretty sweet. One thing I wondered, and I haven't seen every rung of the show. I've mostly done clips until last night. Are they gonna have any material? I don't know how exactly the structure goes. It's like, hey man, great job over the last 2 months. Now give us a new hour.
I remember I always think about that with Last Comic Standing, because I used to watch Last Comic Standing all the time, and there would be people on there that went far, and you could tell that they were out, and the judges would say hey, we love you, you're hilarious, but clearly you have reached the end of the material, because they make them do you can't repeat nothing. You
may or may not know this, but for people who haven't seen it, they do different things, different rounds. They did a roast, they did a crowd work round, and so some comics would be like, A, what a nightmare, or B, I don't fucking do crowd work or roast, and I get that, but it does help with that. To me, if I was in it, I'd be like, okay, it's frustrating that I have to do something I haven't worked on maybe, but at the same time, if I come out of this, I haven't burned as much material.
Also, it's Netflix being like, hey, if you win this, we've got our eyes on you. This is shit we're going to want you to do.
We're expecting you to be a star, not just
right.
It's the Mitch Hedberg thing.
Right.
Do they ask chefs if they know how to farm? They fucking do now. Yeah, it's like he predicted that. Chefs now are like, and me and my wife grow this at our house, so it's the freshest ingredients.
I don't like either of those things either, but I'd just fail on the show. I'd still try it. I guess, if I was there. I just don't hit at it. Fucking A. Well, hey, you know what I also don't hit at, but that doesn't mean that I can't do? Making a website. This podcast is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform designed to help you stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or scaling your business, Squarespace gives you everything you need to claim your domain, showcase your offerings with a professional website, grow your brand, and get paid all in one place. Again, if you know how dumb I am and you know that I've made this website using Squarespace, then you should know that you can definitely do it too, because I am a big old dum-dum. Squarespace gives you everything, even the stuff you need to get paid if you're selling stuff on your websites, and you're going to get paid on time with professional on-brand invoices, online payments. You can streamline your workflow with a built-in appointment scheduling, email marketing tools, and get discovered using SEO tools. Go to squarespace.com/WellRED for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use offer code WellRED to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/WellRED, WellRED for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code WellRED to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Squarespace. Yee.
So I'm only going to do this because, again, I said way earlier, remind me to circle back to that. And I feel like it's one of those things that if I was listening and I just never circled back to it, I would be
We do
annoyed.
that to people a lot.
I know, and I tried to remember and not do that.
Yeah. There's some ADH people right now going, Drew and Corey, stop interrupting him. I swear to God, if you don't let him fucking get this out,
yeah,
I'll
let's
kill
just
both of you.
digress so we go to somewhere else. So
What do you guys think? No, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So the whole like I was thinking it's called eponym, but that's not the word. We talked about this before, but it's when like everybody calls adhesive bandages Band-Aids, right?
Right.
But Band-Aid is a company. Dumpster is a company. That's not the name of the thing itself. Like whatever that fucking thing is. So I was talking about the Yankees.
Genericide or genericization.
What?
Not generous.
That's how Chinese kill a bunch of people. Genocide. Is that what are you? What? That's how
Bruce Genocide.
Genghis Khan did a bunch of genocides.
That sounds more redneck than Chinese to me.
Does.
They're doing a genocide over there. Genocide over here. I don't let them do genocides now.
No, hell no.
I'm just telling you what the internet said, and I scrolled past the AI to make sure. Shout out again, our boy Ron T.
Anyway, yeah. So it is. Anyway, when I was telling the thing to Corey about the Yankees earlier, I said they up on the jumbotron, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the company too,
right? But what's fun about that one, like fun-ish, depending on who you are, is that like they ain't even like Band-Aid is still a thing, and they're the ones that hit it making Band-Aids, and so is Dumpster too. Jumbotron ain't been a thing for like 25 years, but everybody
that's crazy.
Everybody still calls them that. And the whole reason I know this is because y'all know producer Matt, right? He's from a like small city, big-ish town. It's South Dakota. So how big can it be? But it's called Brookings, South Dakota. And no way. But he was saying their local like rich guy, like the super rich guy in his town, is a guy that
Donnie Jumbotron,
David Jumbotron.
It's the opposite. It's actually it's the guy that founded the company that like beat out Jumbotron and still survives. And Matt was telling me like it really don't hit for that guy that everyone calls them Jumbotrons.
Yeah,
when that he like won that war or whatever. But
what's his company called?
So and I think this has something to do with it. The company is called Daktronics. That's what it's called. It's South Dakota, so it's Dakota Electronics, Daktronics. It don't.
No one's gonna be like the Daktronic. Jumbotron is like walkie-talkie.
That's exactly that. What I know. Right.
Let me ask you this. Let me run this. Trey's a business major, and Corey, you got like the marketing background with your family. How come somebody don't buy the rights to that,
right,
and then skate on the fact that people think they're number one?
Yeah, bring it back.
I can't imagine that there's not like a let me think. Baylor's too big. Like a school that just now is going to enter in the Jumbotron game. You know what I mean? Is it High Point that did so well in the NCAA tournament and it found out it was made completely with venture capital money? Pretty sure it is. High Point, Wisconsin is a basketball school that's just an NIL factory. That's literally all it is, apparently. I can totally imagine a place like that. It's like, we're going to buy one of these things. How much is a Jumbotron?
Right. But, well, so I said like that guy won that war or whatever. So Jumbotron was invented, whatever. That was owned and made by Sony, who's obviously still a titan. They just stopped making Jumbotrons.
Okay. So they don't want to give it to nobody.
Probably not, I would imagine. Yeah, right. Yeah, probably.
Okay, that makes sense.
Answer to that.
I knew you'd have a business answer, but it also validates me because I am right. If all things were equal, somebody would just do that, right? Because that happens. Like a defunct brand, but with like a lot of name recognition, somebody just buys the rights and does it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm trying to think of an example. I'm certain that has happened before, but
I think shoes. What was it?
Just shoes, all shoes.
Maybe Pony.
So you're talking about buying like a defunct thing that used to hit and then making a new thing and calling it that, like, like it's a comeback for that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody can tell you it's not a comeback because you bought the rights to name your company and you did have to restart.
Right.
I mean, somebody can say, the secret really, blah, blah, blah. It's not like against the law to say that, but it's not against the law for you to be like, we made a comeback.
This is not the same, but it's kind of, and it's hilarious. Did y'all see? It was a couple months ago. There was this Burger King in, I want to say Chicago-ish somewhere. Well, not Chicago, but the Illinois area in the suburbs or whatever. And this Burger King got reported to corporate, this particular franchisee, because they go in and I guess they had run out of like their official stuff you buy from, with, you know, if they've got their deal with Cisco or whatever, to where every single, you know, every Whopper's the same no matter what store you go to. They just didn't want to do that, and they were just making their own burgers and selling them in tin foil and putting them in regular sacks, but just still calling it Burger King. Like on the outside it was just Burger King and shit, and they didn't get away with it, but that would have really hit for me.
If you just accidentally went there thinking it's a Burger King, and then I mean, that would be a real pleasant surprise. Yeah,
it would be awesome.
You would not be pumped about actual Burger King. You'd be like, I guess I'll eat this Burger King.
I like Burger King compared to. Are you saying you wouldn't be pumped about it compared to a good burger, or compared to McDonald's?
Compared to McDonald's,
I meant the former personally. I don't. Those two, to me, even though they're very, very different, I'm equally meh on both. It goes of those, Hardee's. Being honest.
Big drop. We're talking fast food burgers.
You're talking low level fast food burgers specifically, right?
Sure.
You're not including
Five Guys. Come on,
Five Guys, Shake Shack, In and Out. Those are different.
Steak and Shake, dog.
In and Out, it's questionable if In and Out's different.
Because it's pretty cheap.
If In and Out was national, I can't let a regional be in this competition.
Yeah, they got them in Tennessee now. Do you know that?
So In and Out might have to be on the list. It still is Hardee's for me. That's just a good fucking burger. Hardee's
is a good burger.
And then it drops, and then I think it's Burger King. Like, I like McDonald's better overall. You know, I love filet of fish, by the way. By the way, I saw a kid. Here's another one. Something I've been saying for years, and I see someone do it as a bit. I'm like, Jesus Christ. He's like talking about how he had to order filet of fish in front of his boys because they was in the car together recently. Yeah. He's like, would have rather came out as gay. The response would have been so much more supportive. And I was thinking about the first time we were on tour and I got a filet of fish, and y'all acted like,
because you got to ketchup.
You also,
you douched it in ketchup. I like the filet of fish.
Right.
Fair.
And for the record, now that I think about it, I mean, like, dude, if I was eating fish and chips, I wouldn't think twice about dipping it in some ketchup, and that would hit for me, which is essentially what you've done there. But for some reason, it don't look right.
Well, anyway, I was just saying I do prefer McDonald's to Burger King in general, but burger to burger, the Whopper is better than a McDonald's burger.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
I think so too. Usually when I go to McDonald's, it's specifically, I'm not going like, I want a really good burger, I'm going to McDonald's. Something in my DNA, it's all the microplastics, goes, you want that fake shit. Like, I want that fake taste. You know what I mean? I'm not even craving real fruit. Yeah, and I get a McFlurry. You know, I'm not even
and fuck a King.
I like their nuggets.
Yes.
Which one? McDonald's, right?
McDonald's. Yeah, Burger King.
Dude, they don't even have them. Don't they have chicken fries?
Yeah,
they do. I know for a while they had chicken nuggets that were in the shape of little crowns. I don't think they put those for years, but those definitely didn't hit. You know, I'm not defending fucking Burger King. I don't particularly care for either of those, if I'm being honest.
Steak and Shake's my current fave. I mean, I
feel like that's a different genre, but I can't justify that.
Steak and Shake feels to me more like whatever, and even this ain't the same because it's not like they're limited to shopping malls, but that feels like almost like a Johnny Rockets type place.
It's not regional, but there's still not a lot of them everywhere.
And it's also like, but people walk in. I don't even, does Steak and Shake even have like a drive-through?
Oh yeah. I mean, the one we have does. I can walk to it from my house.
I like Steak and Shake. I think I've only ever went into one.
Bro,
same. That's a good delineation. Did I say it right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's, said they have one, but any place that doesn't have one's not in the conversation.
And before we get comments, I'm aware that Steak and Shake is like full bore, like MAGA and shit.
That's right. Yeah. That one's tough though, because it's like, beef tallow and fried, like, dude, that hits for me. Right.
Like,
they just saw an opening is all. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not letting them take that. Just like I wouldn't let take the white supremacists have my Hawaiian shirt when I'm on vacation.
Would I prefer that they just did it without tweeting and sucking off RFK Jr.? Of course I would. But at the end of the day, dude, like used to. I like shoestring fries anyways, but I'd always get it with the cup of nacho cheese because they hit harder.
Yeah.
Than that. No, they don't.
Yep.
But they don't even like it. It's almost a disservice to these goddamn fries if you dip them in something. They're that good.
It's fine
I
that they
still
don't
do
need it.
I
Okay.
still do.
Yeah,
I still
was
do
about
it.
to say.
And they cook their chicken fingers in beef tallow too, so I get banged like extra ones of them so that I can cop a couple pieces or whatever. And the butter burger. Oh my Lord, Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is not sponsored, but if they want to throw me something, they can.
I think
They don't.
it's not Burger King. I don't think.
Sure.
I think it's McDonald's because I think.
Because they're MAGA.
That's
Wait,
true.
maybe.
You can buy
Maybe
the
it is
tallow
Burger
too.
King. One of those franchises, Corey. There's one location somewhere in the Midwest, Illinois or Ohio or something, that was already called that when the franchise first started.
That's right.
They tried to force them out. They went to court over it, and the little guy won. And so there's it's either Burger King or McDonald's. I think there's one left that's still called Burger King, but it ain't got nothing to do with
It
the
has
corporation.
to be Burger King because McDonald's lawyers got to be better than that. You know what I mean?
And,
like
and
McDonald's
their
just
PR
kill your
people be
family.
like, give them whatever they want.
Right? Yeah, it'd have to be Burger. I mean, I don't know that. I'm just saying, like they're the Coca-Cola of fast food, and Coca-Cola is the Disney of drinks.
It
Disney's-
is Burger King, and it's in Mattoon, Illinois.
Well,
Founded by the Hoots family. The
Okay.
Hoots? Like
Hoots.
Hootie Hoots.
Hoots.
are they black? No, it's Iowa. Never mind.
Yeah, it's they claim it's the original Burger King and predates the fast food chain.
The Hoots, man. I bet they
mean,
got
it
a
would
dinner
have
side
to.
burger that's pretty good.
It would have to, wouldn't it, for their
yeah, or
legal
else they
claim
wouldn't be able to do
hold up?
that. Yeah, but a 1968 court case between the two ruled in their favor, and they are Burger King to this day, and they're the only Burger King in this country that's not what you talking about. So
Well, there's two. One broke the rules in Chicago.
right.
That's true.
Also, Illinois Mavericks when it comes to burgers there in Illinois, I guess.
Yep.
So it says that the Hoots, the way the restaurant started, they bought an already successful ice cream shop called Frigid Queen
Nice.
in 1952. So that's I doubt that had no misogynistic implications.
Surely
in
not.
1952, right? Yeah.
Tim
but
Statham,
it's-
the frosty bitch man.
Yeah.
Why-
But it's funny now.
Why Queen? Like, is it a coincidence that there's a Dairy Queen too, or was there like a string
Right.
of things associated? Nice. Oh my God, is it the milk?
King, queen.
I don't know. That's
Like,
a good question.
Ice cream shops are female because of titty
Right.
milk. Is that
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. It just generally seems more, feminine ice cream than
and milk in general,
burgers
dairy in
are.
general.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So they bought Frigid Queen and, added a grill and hot food, Frigid Queen, to Burger King. You get it.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, that was in 1959.
They had hot treats and hot eats and cool treats.
I always Dairy Queen. I used to always say because as we're well aware, rest in peace to the Salina Dairy Queen, but we had one there when I was growing up. Everybody knows and loves the cool treats, but I always thought the hot eats were a little underrated.
The hot eats are great.
personally.
The gravy
chicken
they
tender
give you,
basket with gravy and the toast. Get out of
extra
town.
gravy so you can
Get
drink
out
it.
of town.
I
When I was
did
in
not
high
like
school,
their
they had-
gravy.
they had
but
a-
I did like their fries.
They had a flamethrower burger with pepper jack cheese and this spicy sauce on it. It's pretty good.
A couple years ago, they were fiddling around with jalapeno poppers, and they weren't bad for fast food jalapeno poppers. Now, granted, I mean, look, every head must bow, every tongue must profess that motherfucking Blizzard. I understand why they're the king of the show. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
they're unbelievable. What y'all's favorite?
What is it? What are they doing, Corey? Is it the air?
soft serve, right? Mixed with those mix-ins.
And maybe they keep it 1 to 2 degrees colder, so it's thicker. I don't know.
But wouldn't
'Cause,
that eventually get icy and freezer burnt?
Yeah, you would.
What are they doing?
They make a big deal about turning it over. And it's
Yeah.
like, or other restaurants sitting there going like, we could fucking turn ours over too, but we don't make a
It's
whole
falling
production
out.
out of
Probably.
it.
I think
Could
they
be some
could.
dipshit
I think
doing
they
that.
could, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's Dairy
the
Queen's
McFlurry
thing.
ain't going nowhere. I've
By
had
the
them.
way-
They're not going nowhere.
I think I figured out the Frosty secret.
Okay.
I think they have fake marshmallow flavoring in it.
Okay, I can see
There
that.
is a hint of mallow in there.
Yeah. And that would make it the consistency that they need.
I'm kind of
That
feeling
would
like
bind,
it's
that would bind with it. And that would make sense how sometimes you take a bite and you're like, that wasn't as cold. That part wasn't as cold. You know what I mean?
and it's also you do the vanilla one or whatever, and you're like, There's something
Uh-huh.
normal
Yeah,
about this.
I'm for it, whatever they're doing, because I love a Frosty.
Right. Yeah. It says that one of y'all said maybe they keep it a little colder or whatever. Apparently, part of the whole thing with soft serve that makes it soft serve is they put air in it.
I thought there was an air thing. I said there's like a creamy air thing.
It says it's made by incorporating air and keeping it at roughly 25 degrees Fahrenheit, which is significantly warmer than traditional hard ice cream. And they keep it moving too, right? Like a soft serve machine, it's like constantly moving, so it doesn't.
Well, they have to do that to keep the air in it.
Yeah,
air in it, no crystallization.
It typically contains less milk fat.
So I was about to bring that up. It's almost like a gelato situation too.
Well, see, gelato is often put in that category, but I believe the actual only difference between gelato and milk fat is between gelato and ice cream is that ice cream has a certain level of milk fat that it has to hit to be ice cream, whereas gelato doesn't. So sometimes you might get a gelato with less, but sometimes you could get a gelato with more because it's not regulated and can still be gelato.
Reason to doubt you. I just didn't know that. You've blown my mind. Mm-hmm. I thought for years that I knew the difference, and that was it. And then I also do think it has to do with the air.
It could be the complete
opposite.
Joe,
what's a sorbet?
Sorbet is
dairy-free,
one that has no dairy. It is fruit based, and I assume that 50% of the thing has to have the sugar of the fruit. I don't know, but definitely no dairy.
Let me shout out Tony down in the old city of Knoxville and his new gelato shop. I was there recently. It was delicious. It was a bustling evening, lots of kids coming in and out. And I asked him, I said, hey, I haven't lived here in a while. How long have you been here? And he said, 2 or 3 years, whatever. And we talked about rent going up and all that. And then I was like, so he goes, I'm from here, but I left and came back. I go, hey, me too. Where'd you go? And he said, Italy, to learn how to make gelato. Nice. And that impressed the shit out of me.
Sorbet has to be made with real fruit, whereas sherbet doesn't, correct?
We're going to say yes.
I believe you. That makes sense.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, he did that.
Trey ain't going to go against you here.
He studied the art. He studied the way of the fucking.
He studied the spoon instead of the blade.
The way of the spoon. Yeah, under Giuseppe something another.
Yeah, spaghetti tutelage, dude.
Yep. Some dude who's like, his family been making that particular type of frozen treat for fucking 150 years or whatever.
It's funny to think about like a farm or whatever, or a factory of them training different types. And there's like the spaghetti area and the smoked meats and the cheeses. And then it's like, and I guess if you want to be a queer, go ahead and learn how to make ice cream too.
Yeah.
Hey.
I've seen videos about the cheeses, like the Parmigiano Reggiano and all that. And they're fucking, they take it all real seriously. I tell you what,
I could start a new life living on one of them farms, doing all that stuff.
Yeah,
they have a thing called, as far as I know, it's a word you can translate it. You're going to hear it and be like, I know what it means, but like it's an Italian origin, agriturismo, which is just like tourism based around people hanging out on their farms.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's what wine country is, right? You go up there because I've been up there, and it's like. That's what that is. They don't just have wine. They do olives and shit too. And so they got, it's all very Mediterranean. But Joe, I know sometimes that's like my new day. It's funny. I used to like daydream about being like a comedian or whatever. Now that I've been a comedian, when I daydream about stuff, it's like making cheese in the fucking Mediterranean countryside or something.
Hey,
just
also
being left alone, having an apron on, just just perfecting my cheese art. It don't have to be cheese. The cured meats would hit for me too. Perhaps more.
Why is it
That'd
just
be sick?
Fear, war, cheese, fish. Only type of mongers you can be. Why?
Okay, fear.
Okay, what about Mungo Jerry?
What does that mean?
You don't know Mungo Jerry?
You don't know Mungo Jerry?
Mungo Jerry?
Mungo Jerry, bro. Fucking, is it called summertime or in the summertime?
In the summer.
In the summertime.
And
I don't know if Mungo is a slur from Once Upon a Time, but when you see his face, you're going to know why I thought maybe somebody looked at this dude.
He's in a yellow suit, ain't he, when he sings it? Is he in a yellow suit?
Also, I got to say, where's DJ at on Mungo Jerry? Because I feel like bit of Mungo Jerry's aesthetic might have inspired our boy. You see them chops and everything?
He's got some chops, dude.
Show me.
Yeah.
I'm pulling him up.
Here, Joe, just put that up on the screen there.
Oh
There
yeah.
you go.
Like, don't you feel like it's
Okay.
possible that Mungo is a forgotten slur? and
Yes.
we ought not be saying it.
Yeah.
It definitely sounds like
He
it,
looks
but
like-
I don't know.
And
He
also
looks like
look at
Andre
him.
the Giant's
Sorry, but it just
dick.
looks like something Papa will be like, look at this fucking Mungo singing.
Mungo, yeah. What
Yeah.
is he?
Italian.
Okay, see, this is what I used to have a bit when
You
I was
think I'd have
in-
been cavalier
God,
about it?
look,
if he
How about this? That's actually the name of the band. That's not the
Oh.
dude. It's the band, which is like I just found out that Jamiroquai is like that,
right.
and they're both British. I always thought Jamiroquai was just the dude with the hat.
I did too.
That's the name of the band. Apparently, Mungo Jerry is also the name of the band, and the dude is Ray Dorset from Middlesex. So
Yeah, I had this bit I wanted to try one time when I was in New York, and I could never get it. But the premise essentially was like, I saw somebody on the subway that was so ugly that I couldn't tell what nationality they were. Like I couldn't, like their face transcended race, ethnicity, anything. Like there's certain people that are so ugly that like you can't just look at them and be like Armenian. You know what I mean? Because all the
Yeah.
traits are fucked up. They're like a Picasso. He's one of them.
Yeah,
like
and
that
I
guy's
thought
account.
maybe somebody threw Mungo at him, being kind of rude. And by the way, I thought he was Italian just because I would not have been throwing that around that
Look at this
loosely if I
Mungo.
thought that I was talking about something other than that.
hold on, though. Here's how we got on to Mungo Jerry.
Oh
What'd
yeah,
you say?
whoremongering.
Fish, war,
Fish, war, fear,
Fear.
and cheese.
What about
and
whore? Whoremongering.
Whoremongering.
I think you can monger. I get what you mean.
But
I don't
you
know why
don't.
people don't call them monger because it's like I oftentimes, I know this isn't like, but people know what you mean. Like somebody that I'm trying to think of an example. Ryan Murphy, right, who's made some stuff that hits for me. Might call him like a trash monger.
He's a trash monger. Yeah.
right? You know, like
No,
people.
scandal monger is apparently a word.
I saw, speaking of Ryan Murphy, somebody, I think it might have been The Onion the other day, shared like Netflix, not sure how long they're going to let Ryan Murphy keep getting away with it, which I thought was
Right.
pretty funny.
Peacemonger.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Those
just
are not
these are
the big
words.
four,
I'm looking
though.
them up, dude.
The big
So-
four are fear, war, fish, and cheese.
You're definitely right about that.
Hate monger. That's a big one.
Hate monger is
Yeah,
definitely a
hate
big
monger's
one.
big.
That's
Yeah.
so this is from
Not a
some
job,
dude.
though. You know what I
This is
mean?
from some dude's blog.
Yes, it is. Tucker
That's true.
Carlson.
That's true.
This is from some dude's blog. All right. It says monger as a suffix is way more common than most people might expect. Below is a list of monger words that you're free to use in everyday speech and writing if you ever have the opportunity. So he's got lawmonger, Drew.
Yep.
I don't know about that. Is that, doom monger, a prophesier of doom, panic monger, love monger. Again, you could just put any word in front of
Monger.
monger.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, I know what Richo's coming from. So hate monger for sure. People definitely say that. The rest of these, I'm kind of calling bullshit on most of these that this dude's saying.
I'm okay with calling bullshit on most of them, but I think the list was a little longer than we first. You know what I mean? Wanted
Yeah.
to throw out
Or-
I
there.
definitely named the
Whoremonger.
big four. That's all I need to know.
He's got on here cockmonger, a
Was that-
procurer of cocks.
I miss her.
Yeah.
yeah. Also, it's not procurer, right? You provide the cock.
Yeah, a
don't you?
cheesemonger provides the cheese. He
I
mongers the
missed her.
cheese.
I said what I said, Trey.
Yeah.
I know. Well, no, I'm saying this dude said, the guy that wrote this said a cockmonger is a procurer of cocks, and I'm disputing that. It would be more like if you have a stable of gigolos, you'd be a cockmonger, right?
Right. I
Like
think
a
so.
gigolo pimp is a cockmonger.
Well, yeah, you got to trade in, and I guess you got to procure it to do it. It also is a broker or dealer. Yeah, you're not wrong, but neither is the idea that you have to procure them before you sell them.
That's true.
Yeah. Powermonger, I've heard that. I've heard
Yep.
I've heard powermonger used before.
And in what context? Like who would be a power monger?
I guess like
Edison?
Stephen Miller.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Stephen
Yeah.
Miller.
Yeah, I don't
Amongst
mean
power.
Yeah, no, not
Steve
like
Bannon for
electricity.
sure.
Steve Bannon's
Yeah,
a
he
power
a power
monger. Yeah,
monger.
right.
Yeah.
Let's see here. You said fish, wine monger. How you feel about that?
I mean, if you're gonna go with fish and cheese, sure, why not wine?
Right. Again, this dude, it's somebody sat down and
Mhm.
was like,
A
"I'm gonna
word
make
monger.
blog post about how there's a lot of words that end in monger." And again, it seems to me what he's
He
done
just-
is he's just thought of words and put monger at the
Yeah.
end of them.
Yeah, and that
Because
ain't it.
then you can.
He might have got them on like Merriam-Webster, whatever dictionary doc. You know what I mean? Like,
I've never
this
heard
is technically a
anyone
word
use-
with a definition.
I've never heard anyone use the full Christian name for the dictionary. I like that. Most people just say Webster's. You said Merriam-Webster's, not letting that hyphenate get out of here. I like that. Respect.
Because it's two dudes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
I thought it was a lady named Merriam-Webster.
You think they
I
let a
just
woman
think
write?
That's true.
I've often called myself, but again, I know people don't say this, but I, say that I'm not but a lowly giggle monger. Like I say, I call myself a giggle monger all the time.
It's
Yeah.
funny. You said, I know people don't say this, but I call myself, could have went so many places with that one.
Right. Yeah.
But it's funny because it's not real.
Funny. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking more voice of a generation. I wasn't going to be mean. I was going to be like, no, literally no one used to.
Me at 40 versus me at 30. That's the
He had to give up that moniker at
just
least
played
6 years
out.
ago.
Yeah, well,
No offense, you're better than us, but grand scheme of things, you don't hit.
right. No.
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 Well, I'm just saying.
Not at
No,
all.
he hits harder than me, but that's not saying anything.
Mm-mm.
I mung nothing.
Yeah.
I've never monged.
I've never munged.
I've never monged, Jerry.
That did seem like it would be an episode of
That
Seinfeld.
dude looks
the
like
Mongers.
every male member of Seinfeld mixed into one
mixed
dude.
together. He does. He
At
does.
least Kramer and George.
Yeah, for sure. And Larry. I mean, I know Larry wasn't a cast member, but he's got the Larry David hair.
He did a few episodes.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait,
wore
was
a
he?
cape. Yeah, he wore a cape. He also
That's right.
did the voice of
Okay, yeah,
Steinbrenner.
that was funny. Oh yeah, he was the voice of Steinbrenner. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right.
fuck it. Right. Yep.
Sure.
That's what I say. All right. Y'all come see me on the road.
I thought it was a good episode, man.
Yeah,
did
no,
too,
I had fun.
But I agree with Trey.
I'm
in that
sorry
we
you're
didn't
not
have
the
anything
Bob
left.
Dylan of Southern comedy. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to upset you.
It just feels like, we've been running out of steam just saying
Yeah.
words with Monger at the end of it for the past, 7 minutes, and end with
Art imitates life.
piling on how much I don't hit, which is fine. I
Yeah.
started it. I unlike the Yankees,
We always do it to me at the beginning of the episode, just in
Right.
case it goes for an hour. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Gotta
Yeah.
leave enough time. Okay. West Coast stuff coming up. San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle this month. Drew will be with me in Portland, so that's fun. And then Florida, not long after that, Spartanburg, Wilmington, bunch of places, all at TreyCrowder.com. Drew.
Hey, I'm going to be in Portland with Trey. I'm going to be kicking off Athfest in Athens, Georgia, their music festival. I'm the kickoff party is comedy. That's all I can remember right now. I do think, New Orleans, August 8th. I need to announce that. I guess I am. New Orleans, August 8th.
CoreyWritesForYou.com. That's my Substack. Subscribe, please. I write stuff and it's funny. Thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skew. Fart.
Two rednecks, but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. We collected from our love of Downton Abbey. We collected, we found out we're both so fancy. Hey, what's the difference between rednecks and royal families? Only money, cause they both have sex with family. Ew. Putting on airs. What other rednecks to talk about foreign affairs? Laughing so hard that we end up falling out our chairs. Sir Trey, Sir Corey, oh what a pair. High class topics with a redneck flair. Oh yeah. Two rednecks, but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Two rednecks, but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Okay, it's Team Squirrel or Team Trey. Oh yeah, we keeping it basic. He thinks that the squirrels at Corey's mom's house are racist. And you know squirrels live in the same place for you better count your days and you better count your blessings. Cause all the squirrels that you ran over, that you think are nameless, faceless, their families are getting together and plotting on you from the attic and basement. So even though Corey is dumb, fat, and bald, he knows how to avoid drama, don't get squirrels involved. Two rednecks, but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Two rednecks, but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs.